Greetings, friend. I will show you how to solve this supersonic Sudoku from the Space Classics pack by sharing the strategies that will solve these two cells. Even better, the names of these strategies are all line related. Click below if you have the right stuff to solve this puzzle. And with that, it's solving time. First thing you want to focus on is actually in this corner right here. What can that cell be? You can't have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 9 in this cell because all those digits see it. So this cell can only be an 8. That is a naked single 8. And now we can use that to do some more solving. Let's look at the 9s now. You have these two 9s here in columns 2 and 1. You have this 9 cutting across row 4. The only place for a 9 in block 4 is right there. And now with that 9 and this 9, with this 9 in column 6, there's only one place for a 9 in block 5. And with these two 9s and this 9 cutting across row 2, only one place for a 9 in block 2. And now with these two 9s and this 9, we can solve for 9 up here in block 3. And the last place for 9, if you see where these two 9s are, and these two 9s, is right here. We just took care of all of the 9s. Now you want to look here in block 5. You have a hard time finding another solve until you go here. And the reason it's hard is that there's no real clear row or column or block to look at. So you have to look at multiple. Look at this cell right here. Within the block, you have a 1, 4, 7, and 9 that all see this cell. In the column, you also have a 2 and a 6. So that's 6 digits that see this cell in the column and the block. Well, if you look at the row, you'll notice you have a 5 and an 8 in addition. So we have 8 different digits, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that all see this cell. So this is a naked single. It can only be a 3. Now we want to stay here in block 5 because now we have 5 digits filled out and we only need a 2, 5, 6, or an 8. If you look in this cell, you see a 2, 5, and an 8. All look at it, so you know you can solve this for a 6. And now with these two 8s, you can solve for the 8 right here. With this 5 coming up, you can solve for the 5 right there and the 2 right there. Now let's move on here with what the 5s can tell us. You got these two 5s coming up the columns. There's only one place for a 5 in column 5 or in block 2, which leaves a 4, 7 naked pair right there. Those are the only two candidates remaining in column 5. And now you look for where an 8 can be. You got these two 8s. The only place for an 8 in here is this cell because you have this 8 cutting across. Okay, so we got to fill out some more digits before we can get to these two green cells. And usually advanced strategies take a little bit longer to come to the part where you need to solve them because you need to set up and get as many restrictions in this puzzle as possible. If you look up here in block 2, where can a 4 go? Well, with these two 4s, there's only one possibility for a 4 right there. And now I want to show you a neat pointing pair trick. You see how the 1 comes down column 1, and this one cuts across row 5. There's only two places for a 1 here in block 4. And what I just did is Snyder notation. Anytime in a 3x3 block, you have two possibilities for a candidate, you can mark it. In case we solve one of these, we can solve the other one right away for that candidate. Since these 1s are also in the same row as well as the column, they're a pointing pair, which means a 1 has to be in one of these spots to satisfy the block. So a 1 can't be anywhere else along this row. So it can't be in either one of those two spots. So if we look at this spot right here, this can no longer be a 1, but it can't be a 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, or 9 either. So this cell has to be a naked single 6. You'll find a lot of neat tricks like this in my Smarty Party puzzle packs. Smarty Party members get these monthly packs from setters, including RockratZero. I am still looking for my first Super Smarty supporter. Click the pinned comment if you want your name on every Smart Hobbies video. Take this 6 and this 6, and we can solve for a 6 here in block 4. And this is going to create a 1, 7 naked pair in row 6 because that's the only 2 candidates remaining. And if you notice, you have this 3 and the 4 right here. Where can the 3 and the 4 go in block 6? Well, it has to be in these 2 spots. No other candidates can be there because we have to have a spot for the 3 and the 4, which means this cell can't be a 1 or 7, can't be a 3 or 4, has to be an 8. All right, after solving that 8, we want to keep in column 7 here because we just solved and we have 5 digits now. We have a 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. We need a 1, 2, 5, 7. You'll notice right here, I have a 1, 5, and 7 that all look in this block. This has to be a 2. And now, because of this 5 cutting across, the only place for a 5 in column 7 is right there. So this has got to be a 1, 7. And so we have a 1, 7 naked pair. We're filling out more values here, and we're getting closer to where we can solve one of those green cells. Okay, after filling out that, we can do some more solvings with the 5s because we have 2 5s here. We have this 5. The only place for a 5 in block 7 is right there. And with these 2 5s and this 5 cutting across row 2, we can solve for a 5 there. And then with these 2 5s and this 5, we can solve for a 5 right here in block 3. Now let's focus on the 7s. You have a 7 cutting across row 3. You have this 7 cutting up. The only place for 7 in block 2 is right there. And now with these 2 7s and this 7, where can a 7 be in block 1? Well, it can only be right there. So we're filling out some more stuff, getting closer to where we can solve one of these green cells. And now with this 7 and this 7, the 7 cutting across row 4, we can solve for 7 in block 4. All right, can the 8s help us out? Yeah, you'll notice we're going to get a lot of solving done, but we're going to get stuck. We will need those flying strategies. You have this 8 cutting across the row. You have this 8 cutting the column. Where can an 8 be in block 3? It has to be right there. Now with these 2 8s and this 8, you can solve for an 8 up here in block 1. That's the only place. And now with these 2 8s and this 8 cutting across, that first cell we solve is going to help us solve an 8 right there. Okay, we got one other cell we can solve right now, and it is going to be a 2. All right, you got these 2s in column rows 2 and 3. Only place for 2 in block 1 is right there. Now, this is a spot where you're going to get stuck. There's no other easy cells to solve. So now we're going to focus on solving one of these 2 green cells. And we're going to need an advanced strategy. And it's so tough, you're going to need to apply it twice. Let's look at the candidate 3. Where can 3s be in this puzzle? You have 2 givens right there. So 3s can be there, here, here, can be there, these 2 spots, these 3 spots, and all of these spots. All right, we'll mark all that in blue. Let's get rid of the 3s that are already marked. Okay, and what you might notice is if you look in row 2 and row 5, you'll notice that the 3s only appear twice in row 2 and row 5. So there's only 2 blue squares. Those are conjugate pairs. That means one of these has to be a 3. If this is not a 3, that cell would have to be a 3. Same thing in row 2. Do you notice how in rows 2 and 5, they actually share a column? So the 3s have to be, they share this column 8, okay? And then you notice the tips of the 3s are in the same 3 by 3 band is what this is called, or called a tower, all right? And I'll highlight these in orange to kind of help show what we're looking at here. So a 3, since it's a conjugate pair, it's got to be in one of these 2 spots. So either 3's here, and everything that sees this cell cannot contain a 3. So this cannot contain a 3, this would not be able to 3, that would not be able to 3. If this is not a 3, this cell has to be a 3, right? Because it's the only other choice. This cell would not be a 3, and it would force a 3 right here. So either a 3 is here, if it's not here, it has to be here. Either way we look at it, any cell that sees both of these orange cells cannot contain a 3. Because if you put a 3 in one of those cells, you'd block both those out, and then the only place to put a 3 in rows 2 and 5 would be here in column 8. That can't happen. So we can eliminate all the 3s that see both the orange cells. And this strategy allows us to eliminate a 3 from this cell right here. It could be before a 1, 2, or a 3. It can't be a 4 because of that, and it can't be a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 because of these cells. We can eliminate a 3 from right here. This strategy is related to flying because it's called a skyscraper. It has sky in the term. You need to have some sky and air in it to do some flying. And this is going to help us eliminate from that cell, but we're not done. But this is the fastest way to get through this solve. RockratZero can be pretty speedy himself. He sets a majority of his puzzles in less than 1 hour. That's quick. Though others may take him hours or even days and weeks to solve. Wow. All right, we're going to apply this skyscraper technique again. Let's make everything blue. And we'll get rid of the purples, and we'll get rid of the oranges. And this is kind of neat. Now, because we eliminated 3 from here, you want to look now at the columns. Notice in column 3 and column 6, there's only 2 possibilities for a 3 again. They share row 8. So, share row 8. It's okay if there's this extra cell here. That won't affect this because we're looking at just the columns. And then the tips are in the same 3x3 band. These are also called belts when you go across with the 3x3 band. So these two are our skyscraper tips. And this might look more like a skyscraper. You know, this is a taller skyscraper than this one. But what it means is either 3's here. If it's not here, has to be here, can't be here, this has to be a 3. Both these could contain a 3. The main point we want is that one of them has to contain a 3. So we can eliminate a 3 from any cell that sees both of these. Well, what can be in this cell right here? It could be a 3 or a 6. It's also one of our highlighted cells. Since we know a 3 has to be in one of these spots, we can eliminate that 3 from right there. So we're going to be able to solve our first highlighted green cell for a 6. Subscribe and ring the bell for notifications if you like to solve skyscrapers. If you want to learn more about them, check out my tutorial. All right, we got this green cell right here, so we're going to eliminate the colors, and we're actually going to get rid of all of these other colors. Get rid of those blues. Let's get rid of these purples, and let's get rid of these oranges. And now you're like, Timberlake, okay, we can solve the green cell right now. Nope, we got to work our way to it. But we did 2 skyscrapers. What did that give us? There's only one possibility left in block 1, so we can solve that for a 3 as soon as I get out of color mode. All this full house, that has to be a 6. That's going to be a 3 in the corner. All right, which allows us to disambiguate this 4, 3 right there. You can solve this cell for a 6. Looking good. Because we have another full house right here. This has to be a 6. I'm going to mark this as a 1, 3 right there because that will help us out here in just a little bit. Okay, with these 2 6s and this 6, we can solve for 6 right here. And then we can finish up row 5. It's another full house. We can solve for a 4. Okay, this is the time where we need the next advanced strategy. It's related to flying. The first flying term we used was sky, related to the air. What can we do here? Well, what you have to look at is what's across this row remaining. Looks like we need a 1, 2, and a 3. Well, we have a 3 in this column. We have a 2 in this column. And we have a 1 in that column. Okay. You look, what can this cell be right here? It looks like it could be 1, 2, or 3. Well, I got a 3 right there, so this is going to only be a 1 or a 2. Okay, this is interesting. And now what can be in this block? We need, it looks like a 1, 2, or 3. This can only be a 1 or a 2, and because of the 2, this can only be a 1 or a 3. All right, you want to notice is that this 1, 2 pair, this BVC, is in row 9. Okay, not a big deal. It's in block 9, row 9. There's another sister BVC 1, 2 in block 8 in row 7. Okay, believe it or not, these two have a relationship. The relationship here is you want to now look at the third block in this band or belt in the row that those 1, 2s are not in. You'll notice that a 1 is a possible to be in this row, but a 2 can't be here. And so what that means is if you tried to put a 2 in these two spots, then you wouldn't be able to put a 2 there. This would be a 1. And this would be a 3, but then you wouldn't be able to put the 2 or the 3 right there. You would have nothing left, right? And you get an error message. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2. So what we know is that these both can't be 2s. One of these at least has to be a 1. If that's the case, then any cell that sees both of these, you can remove a 1. All right, and so in order to do some flying, you have to have air from the sky, but you also have to have something that produces lift, which creates your flight, and that is a wing. In this case, we have a W wing delta variant. And what it means is since these two cells, one of them has to be a 1, you can eliminate a 1 from this cell right here, our last green cell, and solve it for a 3. Learn more about W wings with this tutorial. Okay, now we did that. How can we use this to start solving the rest of this puzzle? Let's remove our colors and let's see what this takes us. This 3 means now that this cell can be a 1, that's got to be a 3. This 3 also means this has to be your 2. That's a 1, that's a 3. This is going to be a 1 because of the 2. This 1 means this has to be a 7. That's a 1, and that is a 7. This one's going to allow us to solve for a 2 right there. And it looks like we need this 7 actually will give us this 4, and that 7 give us a full house. And it looks like we need a 4 right there, and the only thing left in this block is a 2. I don't see a 1 in block 8, so we can solve for the 1 right there. This 1 means this has to be a 2, which displaces that Snyder 1 that we found so helpful earlier in the puzzle solve, and allows this last digit to be a 3. Watch this next video to solve more Sudoku W wings. Please consider supporting me through my Buy Me a Coffee page. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, RockratZero, for being my Friday featured setter. I loved this pack and all these puzzles, and I want to thank you so much for watching.